So our topic for this module is LGU Digital Communication Strategies, Planning and Evaluation. At the end of the lecture, you should be able to first recognize the communication needs aligned with your purpose and objectives. Number 2, understand concepts, terms, and tools in crafting and evaluating social media communications plan. 3, familiarize with the best practices in social media for LGUs. And lastly, provide guidance for assessing impact of social media plan. So our outline is similarly as follows. We will be starting with indicators or metrics and accompanying objectives. Next, the steps in social media planning. 3, monitoring and maintenance. And 4, evaluating your impact. So for a quick recall, digital communications is any type of communication carried over a digital medium. So today, it has become vital in the government, whether in the local or national level. In fact, one of the most used platforms for digital communications is Facebook. So why Facebook? First of all, Facebook is the most used social media app in the Philippines. Based on the 2021 Pulse Asia survey, 99% of internet users own a Facebook account in the Philippines. Your success of communication strategies can easily be measured with the use of its built-in analytical tools. So evaluating the effectiveness of your online campaign has been very much simplified. Facebook page can also be managed by multiple teams. So this is actually super helpful to LGUs with a designated DIO per department. This paves the way for a more efficient request and concern resolution, which in turn, of course, increases client satisfaction. So on Facebook, we have objectives and indicators or metrics that help us achieve the respective objectives. So let's look more into them. So here we have the common terms used on Facebook classified under which social media objective they are relevant. For awareness, there's impression or reach. Now, to put simply, if me and my friend sees a suspension announcement on Facebook, the reach is already one for me and one for my friend. If the announcement appeared on my feed twice and once on my friend's feed, the total number of impressions is 3. For engagement, this is basically the total number of likes, reacts, comments, and shares for any interaction made on a post. And then for sentiments, of course, there's comments and inbox messages, which is basically self-explanatory. Now, what do these indicators measure anyway? Now, for reach and impressions, we get to describe audience's awareness of a page. So awareness is a fundamental objective of any organization, and in order to achieve goals, its audiences and community must be aware of it and its presence online. To differentiate the two metrics, basically, tracking your reach will help you understand the size of your audience and how it grows, and then taking measurements of your impressions will help you see how users engage with your content. Now, where can you see these metrics of reach and impressions? So just go to your page to manage it, and to the leftmost side, you will see a menu of tabs. Scroll down and look for Creator Studio. Now, on the next page, if you click on it, look at the leftmost side of the menu again and scroll down to Insights. Then click on it and then below it, select Overview. This will open a page that you can see on the right side of our slide. Here, you can view the total reach under a certain period as well as its growth over time. For impressions, from the same page, just scroll down the leftmost menu and then find Published. This should open your library of published content and the metrics for each, starting with impressions. Now for engagement, this aims to gain more traction on social media. Now what else do engagement tell us? So more engagements you have, the more your post may appear in people's timelines. The more engagements you have, you gain more buzz on social media. You also get a glimpse of how your audiences perceive your brand through engagements, and also you get to grow your reach. Now, this engagement of objective actually answers to the common desire online, which is, I want to be viral. So engagement is not the most important objective actually, because your objective on social media depends on what you want to do. So your actual purpose matters more than going viral or gaining engagements. Again, where can we see this metrics, engagements? From the same page as the reach, just look at the rightmost figure on the upper side of the page here. And if you scroll down, you will see the breakdown of the engagements from comments, shares, reactions, etc. So all of these interactions total into the total number of engagements. Now for sentiments. So sentiment is a metric on social media that allows you to determine messages of audiences through actual text. Some metrics for engagements can be limited or misinterpreted. Sentiments give you a deeper insight into the attitudes, opinions, and emotions of users. It actually tells you whether a text sees you in a positive or negative light. And sentiments as well is actively used in a social media strategy called community management, which I will elaborate on more later. Now, where can we see the data for sentiments? For the latest comments of any post, just go to the Manage page once again and click on Inbox from the leftmost menu. On top, you will see tabs. Now, click on the Facebook comments and you will see all the notifications for the latest Facebook comments. For inbox messages, just click on the same page and just click all messages to inbox to access inbox messages. Among the three objectives, sentiments is one that we can really look into as an LGU. So this can be done, or looking into the sentiments can be done through sentiment analysis. Now, sentiment analysis on social media is a process of interpreting and determining whether the social media text collected is positive, negative, or neutral. So what's the importance of sentiment analysis? One, it helps you understand your audience or how they view you. You get to gather actionable data, such as knowing what are their pain points, and then later on exploring on how you can address these pain points. You also get meaningful insights about your messages. So normally, analytics will show us numbers. And while these data tell us something about our audience, we can also actually look into what the audiences are actually saying. So this is voiced through sentiment, which can be analyzed to understand a unified message. Without sentiment analysis, you may have been none the wiser, thinking a rising number of mentions is a good thing. But in this case, for sentiment analysis, words can actually tell what numbers cannot. So here, words speak louder than numbers. Okay, so now that we've understood what sentiment analysis is, how is it done? Let's go into simple step by step. Step 1, gather all the data from comments and inbox. Ideally, good for a month's period or depending on the amount of responses you get. So we've shown you where you can get it. Here, we have a document tracker used for sentiment analysis, which can be crafted through Excel or Google Sheets. First, you just fill in the initial information as follows. So some columns are empty, as we will learn how to fill them in along the way and for respective purposes. So for example, we have three comments and messages. After, step number 2, categorize if the comment or message is positive, negative, or neutral. So here's a quick guide on how to determine the category of a text. Just discern by determining the context. So what was the user referring to? What post did they comment on? And if appropriate, try to get more details, especially if they message directly. Step 3, identify themes, topics for each kind of sentiment under tags. Now, simply determine from the comment or message what is being talked about. For example, in row number 3, this might be about requests on clearances. So the tag is clearances. You can also be more specific if you want. What kind of clearance is it? On the second row, you also need to check on the context. So if this was a comment on a post about vaccines, like very informative about vaccines, then the tag will most likely be under vaccines and vaccinations. So this should be the tag. Step 4, analyze the data. So Here's some guide questions that can help you form your analysis report. Now, the number of sentiments allow you to know how much users talk to your page, and this will help you anticipate the amount of sentiments you'll get for the following months. Determining the positive, negative, and neutral for your sentiments allows you to know how users perceive your page and how they feel about you. Are they mostly happy, unhappy, inquisitive? And then from there on, you can act accordingly. Also, knowing what they're mostly concerned with based on the tags will allow you to determine what your audiences are mostly concerned about. Is it the pandemic? Is it about accessing documents? Is it about events? This can be vast, so it depends on what you're currently deploying or anything else concerning the community. You can also make use of a word cloud to know what words your page is associated with, depending if it's positive, negative, or neutral. And if there's an event that led to an influx of sentiments, this might give us hints on how we should respond accordingly. So someone complained about issues on road blockage. After getting some sentiments from the flux of comments and messages that you got, you're allowed to respond immediately after. So here's a quick rundown of the objectives we talked about, and I hope you get to recall the associated metrics for each. Now that we understand some of the language of social media, how do we then plan our strategy on the platform? For social media planning, let's begin with the main output. What is a social media strategy? So it's a document outlining your social media goals, the tactics you will use to achieve them, and the metrics you will track to measure your progress. So step 1, identify your objectives. Here we have kinds of social media objectives. 1, promote awareness. So awareness can be for your page, what programs or services you have offline, and any other information you want your users to know. Number 2, educate the public. So this means disseminating essential information, policies, announcement, what have you. 3, engage with your community. Social media can be used for people to engage with certain programs of your organization. Engagement is not just about virality or the one that we talked about earlier. You may want to gain engagement to get more people to participate in any of your programs. You want to encourage people to ask more to address public issues. You may also want engagement for people to express more what they want or need. So this objective requires audience's action, and you need to know why you want to use it as an objective. Because in that way, you need to consider increasing or gaining engagement so that this objective will be actually instrumental for your purpose as an LGU. Next, build community. So growing audiences allows you to further your reach. Make sure people can follow you, whether they are in your community or not. Some information you have may be useful. So building communities inspire community-oriented action because initiatives can come from your audiences. This also allows them to be more sustainable, and it makes your services more efficient to your communities. Step 2, learn your audience. So learning about your audiences allows you to know who they are and what they need. This will also allow us to target them effectively. So in getting to know your audiences, you need to define the profile of the people you're targeting. So 1, you need to know the sector that they're in, their age, gender, location, and their interests through engagements and sentiments. So where can you find this data? Just go to your the manage page and select insights. This will open the insights page. Then click on audiences tab to see the visualization on your page's analytics. So step 3, set up or update profiles. So here we have the Facebook page basics, which is a landing page. So a landing page serves as the news feed page where users can see information all about your purpose. Building a well-established landing page makes your page legitimate, so it's important to indicate complete and updated information. You can always refer to the pen icon or photo icon to edit it. Here also the important information on your page that needs updating accordingly. So just always click on the pen button to edit. Lastly, about description of your page is also very important. Through this, you get to introduce your organization by describing what you do. This appears in search results and on your profile. So 1 to 2 sentences of what value you offer and what makes you unique is enough for this part of your page. Step 4, create compelling content. So compelling content means standing out because on social media, there are numerous content that your audiences are taking in. So how will you compel them? First is do align your content with your intention or objective. Remember that this content aims to achieve action, awareness, engagement. Also, create valuable information to draw your audiences. Assure that these information are also relevant to keep them engaged, and make sure to stay consistent on all channels when it comes to promoting content. Now, what about don'ts? Don't use all the content you have immediately. Filter and assure that what you'll share will not only work, but it is the ones that will best work. Don't focus just on yourself, but also on your audiences. Remember that you need to connect with them. And lastly, don't be off-brand. Simply put, don't publish anything irrelevant or not in tune with your page or your audiences. When it comes to creating compelling content, you can get insights. Where can we get them? So based on the content that you have the most reach and impressions on, you get to know how many people see your content and if they get to see them or not. So if they are reached, they can be aware. If impressions are high, it means people are inclined to seeing it more than once, maybe because the content fits into the algorithm of their profile. So if they look at it or just look at it once. Next, if people engage with your content, it may be effective based on various reasons. Always get the context of the engagement. Next time, you can plan how to engage your audiences with the insights that you can get from your engagement in the analytics. You'll get to know why they share, why they like, and why they commented. Sentiments will always tell you what the people feel, need, or think. Now, make use of what you can obtain. Next, these insights can help you in being proactive and reactive in your content. So timeliness of a content can be achieved by promptly using these insights. Basically, just act accordingly as you get these information. As a government, how can you address these online and also offline? Step 5, create social media content calendar. So you need to plot your content calendar first, considering the phasing based on your objectives. So, for example, if it's for awareness, think of what time it will be most effective to reach the most people. Next, create a content calendar based on your content. Consider how many content will you be posting in the day and the time it will be posted if you'll be posting more than once. Pace your content in a week or a month. Since you'll be the one to produce these content and such, consider your capacity for producing materials. Lastly, target the optimal time that is most efficient to post the content. When publishing your content, there's only very few steps. After having your pub or caption ready, proceed to the Creator Studio and click Create Post. This will show where you can input your caption and upload your asset. You can immediately proceed to publish or share if you do it on time or manually, but one of the greatest hacks on Facebook is that you can schedule posts. So you'll be able to do it by simply clicking on schedule, and the schedule post option will appear where you can indicate the specific time or day you want to have your post published. Remember that scheduled posts need to be shared between 10 minutes or up to 75 days from when you create them. So here are some of the tips that we can share to you to optimize your Facebook performance. Facebook Best Practices says that ideal posting time depends on your target audiences. It's best to calibrate it based on your Facebook analytics, which posts get the most engagement or reach. So Sprout Social recommends Wednesdays at 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. To maximize Facebook page engagement, nearly 50% of marketers were surveyed recommend posting 1 to 3 times per week. Now, studies show that LGUs receive risk or crisis information once or more daily from their LGUs perceive that their LGUs says risk and crisis communication are moderately or highly effective. The use of the native language or local language can increase the public's perception of the LGU's effectiveness. Always remember to keep captions short. Organic posts with 80 characters or less receive 66% higher engagement. The text on your publicity material or your asset should be bold and concise. So on Facebook, images with less than 20% of text tend to actually perform better. Now, in monitoring and maintenance, your presence. First, here we have an organized way in implementing community management. We go back to the tracker that we showed earlier, but this time around, we will strategically respond to them or not. So, what are the actions you need to do based on the message or concern? First, we have escalate. This refers to concerns that needs forwarding to other departments. These are concerns that require action beyond communication. Next, we have react. So for comments that require minimal response or a simple acknowledgement, you just need to react to their comment or message. This conveys activity of the page. Now, for concerns that require more information, you actually need to respond. So if it's a question, simply answer what's being asked. Or if it's a concern, provide explanation on how it can be addressed if it needs a certain step, or just simply completely answer their concern or inquiry. Next, block. So some messages or comments are just spam or text from trolls. So you can block, hide, or ignore them instead. Lastly, you can actually do nothing about them. This means simply filtering messages and comments. So just acknowledging them or listing them down is for tallying or documentation purposes. Now, how will we respond? So what will you write in your reply? Here we have tips on best practices. So first, be polite and accommodating. Speak in your brand's voice and tonality and address them with authenticity. Next, directly address what is needed. So focus on the ask. Better to have an FAQs as a reference, just so you can quickly know how to respond when a concern for a certain topic is concerned. If the concern needs to be escalated, probe into the concern by asking important details. You need to complete all the details from their concern to avoid going back and forth from where you escalated it and to the person that needs a concern to be addressed. Do not engage or reply with anything that does not represent your organization. So don't add in any personal replies. Do classify and tally the sentiments for documentation. Lastly, we have evaluating your impact. So here we want to stress that all our social media efforts will go beyond the digital communication ecosystem. It should translate to the behaviors of our community, how we are seen by our community offline, and how the use of social media reflects our leadership. So in evaluating your impact, here's a list of guide questions based on the objectives we discussed earlier. 1, awareness. So are there more or less? So are there more people who know what you want them to be aware of? Are there less questions because they're finally aware of a certain information that they should actually know? Or they have less questions about a certain program because they already know it. They don't need further clarifications. Next, engagement. Is there more participation for your programs or projects? You want people to contribute further? Is it gaining more action? So in this case, are there more elements that show success because people are more physically engaged rather than online engaged? Next, sentiment. Are people more satisfied? Are there less complaints? Are the pain points finally addressed? So if some of these concerns are close, it means that you actually catered to the sentiment that they have, and the sentiment are more favorable towards your page or organization. So this can be evaluated apart from social media behavior, and it really goes um, beyond what you've been doing online. It needs to connect the online and offline world to really convey that you have successfully expressed your leadership as as the government of a certain community. So that ends our lecture on LGU digital communication strategies, planning, and evaluation. We hope that you learned a thing or two in purposefully using social media and digital communications in serving your community.